Amen, amen. Welcome to the City of Harvest Church Growth Service. Amen. We thank you for joining us online, and we thank you for those of you who have joined us in person. Before we get started, we want to acknowledge our senior pastor in his absence. We know that it's a hard-working man, and we know that he's enjoying his rest well. Acknowledge our executive pastor, Pastor Terrence, our shepherd's care, our admin, our ministers, elders, watchmen, and all those in their places. Welcome. Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody is having a good start to their week. I know I'm tired teaching the babies. So, yeah. So I want to do something a little interesting today. I have a little activity for us today. We have a few people in the building, and those of you online, if you just follow along and you can kind of think about what we're doing here as we do this as well. Okay, so I have a few people, and as we follow our CDC guidelines, keep your mask up, I want you guys to get together as socially distanced as possible, and I want you to make a team. And this team is going to consist of a leader and some team members. But the only catch is I'm not going to tell you what you're going to be doing until you get your team together. So, that makes sense? Okay, so make a team, figure out who's going to be your leader, who's going to be second in command, or however you want to structure yourselves, and then I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing as soon as you get your team together, all right? So let's get about, let's say, just a few minutes, about 2 minutes, if you need more time, it's fine. Discuss among yourselves, how you want to structure yourselves, all right? Okay, go for it. I want you guys to, and at home, think about, if you were amongst your group of friends, think about who you would want to be set up in whatever you're doing. And everybody just come together and figure out what you want to do. So we're thinking about who we would want to be our leader, who would want to be our, co-captain, or whatever the case may be, right? So, y'all set up into teams of two. That's nice. Okay, that's cool. Some dynamics. Okay, so we're good. We need more time. Everybody, no? Everybody good? Everybody good? Okay. So I have some mics set up around. Pastor T, there you go. There y'all go right here. And fellas, you go right here. And we're just gonna talk around, and we're gonna see who you chose to lead and who chose to follow and all this other whatnot. So we do this activity. So anybody want to go first? You want to go first? Okay. So the pastor and my wife, the prophet, gonna go first. Okay. So who did you guys choose to lead this activity? You chose my wife. Okay. Why did you choose my wife to lead? Yeah, get on the mic. Gotta be able to hear you. Is the mic on? It's okay. So you chose the watchman because she needed to be on the lookout. So you chose her for her ability to see and know what's going on.
That's right.
Okay, there it is. Okay, all right. Miss Admin, Miss KB, how did y'all just configure your team? She just told you. What did she tell you? She said she gonna follow. So you the leader. Okay. Well, admin minister, why did you choose to follow KB's lead today?
I was tired.
You's tired. Ooh, you ain't the only one. God bless you. So okay, gentlemen in the back, what did we decide to do?
I'll be the leader.
You're the leader.
Yeah, I'll be the leader.
Okay, how did y'all decide for you to be the leader?
Last
That's fine. That's fine. Sometimes it happens like that. So we got leader, and leader. All right. So there is no activity. That was the activity because they were talking about leadership, right? And then I want to open this up with the discussion of why and how you chose to be a leader. Like, what did you see in the people that you chose to lead, and even the people that you chose to follow, right? So, Pastor T, you chose Clarissa to be the leader of your team. What in Clarissa did you see that was leadership worthy?
humility.
Okay, we saw the ability to be humble. Okay, anything else? Okay. I'm just trying to. I told y'all last week we're gonna talk. I'm gonna get y'all talking one way or another. Okay. My ladies in the front. You said you was tired, but even if you're tired, you know you got to see something in her that would put your trust in her to lead you. So what was that?
I've seen her lead,
Mm-hmm.
so I can trust her leadership.
Okay. So
She's a hustler. I see her go get things, so I know she knows to get stuff done.
so it's an element of trust.
Yes.
It's the initiative. It's the perseverance,
Uh-huh.
the endurance. Okay.
Amen.
Okay. Elder, why did you choose to make this man your leader of your team?
I chose to be a leader because he's very humble guy. And every time I come around, I see him. He's quiet. Sometimes you don't have to be loud spoken to lead. Sometimes the quietness is strength and quietness. That's why I chose him.
Okay. All right. So, and all these are great. So the first thing I'm going to do is that we're going to, and this is going to be real short, sweet, simple, and we're going to have some discussion, and we're going to go. So we're going to talk about some things that it takes to be a leader, right? We're going to talk about some elements or some characteristics of leadership, and we're going to go and give some examples and some background, biblical examples of leadership, right? So leaders, right, do what's right even when they're alone, right, when nobody's watching, right? And a great example of this is Noah, right? So God says, Noah, you're gonna build this ark because I'm tired of all these people doing whatever they want to do, and you, Noah, are the only one in this whole world who's doing what I told you to do. Ain't nobody watching you, nobody's telling you what to do, but Noah, you were the one who was doing what I asked you to do when nobody's watching. You are a man of integrity, a man of God. You are doing this alone, right? So leaders have to do what's right when nobody's watching. We all know that's big with integrity, right? So Noah is a great example, and I'm pretty sure those of you that chose your people, entrusted them, right, to do the right thing, even if you weren't there. Like if I said, we don't know what the activity could have been. The activity could have been hand them your wallet, send them down the road to the store, and see what they got. You have to trust them, right, your leader, to do the right thing even when you're not there, right, on your behalf. Okay? So let's keep going. That was Noah, and if you want to go back and read on that, that's in Genesis 6, right? God telling Noah to build the ark because he was the only one in the world that was doing the right thing. Everybody else was doing the wrong thing. Next point, next step. Leaders endure, right? No matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, no matter what's going on. And we all know a great example of this is Joseph, right? Still in Genesis 37, right? Joseph, right, was sold into slavery, sent to prison, falsely accused, and all that he had to endure despite his circumstance, and he held strong. And he was still chosen to be the leader, right? And he made it all the way to the palace, right? So what are those things that we have to endure? What are those things that we have to push through? What are those things that we have to say, well, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to stand strong despite what's going on around me, right? Because as we know, things come up in life, things come up in ministry, things come up at work or whatever the case may be. And you have to trust your leadership, or even yourself, if you are that leader on the job, to handle whatever comes your way. On the job, I could have a situation with a student in the middle of my classroom, but what I have to do is I have to handle it, move on, keep pushing. I can't allow these small things to hinder the overall goal of what we're doing, right? Okay. We're going to keep moving, right? Let's talk about leaders maintain, this goes along with what I said, leaders maintain their resolve or their position regardless of the consequences. Mm-hmm. So not only do we have to maintain our position despite circumstances, but even in the decisions that we make, we have to maintain our resolve or our stance on these things despite the consequences, right? Because we're doing the right thing, and then things are going to happen. And then when we do the right thing, when those things happen, sometimes it doesn't always work out in our favor in the beginning, right? And we know a great example of this is Daniel, right? He chose to serve God and do what God told him to do no matter what the king said. His friends, his colleagues said, all right, we're going to get him caught up. And what happened? He got thrown into the lions, and he said, "Are you going to do what I asked you to do, or are you going to keep doing what you want to do?" And Daniel said, "I'm going to keep doing what God told me to do." And he got thrown in. Despite the consequences, he continued to push forward and to be a leader that God told him to be, right? And we all know he came out on the other side a better, blessed and anointed, and he was not harmed, right? Okay. And I hope these examples and these little nuggets are kind of giving you a better idea of how we can be leaders in ministry and our families, at work, or just in general. So this is just serving as a quick reminder and a push for us to be better leaders. Leaders have to rise to the occasion, right? And this was a big thing that I wanted to see us do in that little brief little opener right there. So leaders rise to the occasion. So you didn't know what it was. All you knew was somebody had to lead and somebody had to follow, right? And I didn't give you a lot of time, so you had to just make the decision. We can't waver or tarry and say, I might do it. I mean, I could do it. I'm capable, but I'm not really, right? When that situation comes up, you have to rise to the occasion. You have to hit it full force, and you have to go for it, right? If we talk about Isaiah in Isaiah 6, right? God is asking, who can I send, or what prophet can I send to my people, right? To deliver this word or to do what I have asked him to do. And Isaiah immediately responds, "I'm here, send me." Without any hesitation, without any ill will, he says, I'm here, send me, right? So leaders, we don't want to wait and see if anybody else is going to step up, right? And do what needs to be done. We're going to just do it point blank, period, automatic, right? It takes initiative, right? We're the first to raise our hands. We're the first to stand. We're the first to show up. We're the first to speak. We're the first to make decisions, right? And we don't do well with laziness or inactivity or just just standing around and just waiting for somebody to volunteer. If it's gonna get done, and if I gotta do it, then I'm gonna do it. So we have to take the initiative and we have to rise to the occasion. Okay. Next up, this is just gonna be a quick little recap. We talked about Peter last week, and we talked about how he was able to recover from his failure. And as leaders, we are in charge of making decisions, and a lot of the times those decisions are put on our shoulders, and the results of those decisions, good or bad, are a reflection of us, right? So Peter made a decision, as we know from last week, and as we know in the story, to deny Jesus, right? That was his decision. That was his failure. But despite his failure, he recovered and he came back to be the rock of the church, right? To save lives, to heal, to preach, to teach, to build the church. So we have to be able to recover from failure because we all know that we're not perfect, right? We all know mistakes are going to happen. We all know that no matter what it is, that something is going to fall by the wayside. But no matter what the image of failure that's put on us, right, we can't sit in that failure. We have to move forward and we have to recover from that failure. Because what would it look like if us leaders, the second we fail, we give up? What would the church be today if Peter said, you know what, I denied him, I'm out of here. I can't do it no more. I'm just going to give up, right? So we can't give up. We have to recover, right? And we know we can recover because even in our theme, we are given relentless grace, right? So he was given grace and he was able to recover from his failure, right? So we don't wallow in self-pity. We don't just give up. We pick ourselves up and we start right back where we left off. We don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. We can just go right where we left off and keep on pushing. Because that's how God's grace works. We don't have to start all the way over. He says, I'm going to put you right where you left off and we're going to keep on trucking. Right? Any questions, comments? I feel like I'm just talking a lot. Okay. I want to get to 7, so I got 2 more, right? So that was number 5. I felt like 7 was a good number. Number 6. Leaders are passionate about what they do and what they believe in, right? I'm pretty sure you guys didn't choose the people you chose, and even those who are watching online, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't choose anybody that you think would just kind of slow walk their way to whatever we were doing, right? All right, I'm in charge, and we just going. What we doing today? We just going. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, you got it. I don't know. Right? But instead, right? All right, here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get lined up. All right, we're gonna go out here. We're gonna do this. These are our goals. These are our initiatives. This is how we're gonna do it. Right? Passion in your leadership causes others to be passionate in their roles. Right? Right? If the leader is passionate, if the leader is determined, if the leader is full of zeal, then that causes the followers, the team, to also be passionate and to want to accomplish the goal. You see, the thing that you learn in the workforce is that if you're on top and you're not excited about what you're doing, then those under you already they feel like underpaid and disrespected and all this other whatnot. And so not only do you have to deal with that, but now you have to deal with I'm not even excited about whatever the goal is, right? Because when you're in the workforce, the goal is not my goal. Like when I worked at Walmart, your goal to sell this many notebooks at back to school time, that's not my goal. That's your goal. So in order for me to be excited about this, you got to be excited about it. We as human beings have this nature of just coming together and bonding with each other. So when you are passionate, I can then be passionate. When our leaders are passionate, it trickles down to the other people, right? And we know a great example is Pastor Brandon. He is excited about what Harvest is doing. He's excited about Harvest. He's excited about where we're going, and that obviously trickles down to all of us, right? But just imagine if he wasn't. Imagine if he showed up on Sunday morning and he was just like, all right, come on, praise God because he's good and he's mighty and this is what we're supposed to do. And this is my job. And I'm doing my job. Right? It would be like kind of like a culture shock. Right? But instead, like we know, he comes in happy, smiling, full of energy, despite the circumstances, like we said, despite what people may say, despite whatever it is, and he comes in full of zeal, and that zeal and that passion trickles down to us. So leaders have to be passionate about what they do so it can then trickle down onto others. And a great example of this is Paul, right? Now Paul was passionate before he was Paul and after he was Paul, because before he was Paul, he was happy about crucifying and killing us people. He said, I'm going to do it, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. So, but even after he had his encounter, that passion didn't go away, right? The passion carried over, and then he became passionate about the word of God. He became passionate about teaching and preaching, about correcting in love, about order, about God's excellence, right? So that passion is the thing that drove him to be great, and then also influenced all of the people that he touched. They saw his passion. This man who was once an enemy, now my friend, and he has this much passion for what he was trying to kill. So why can I not be passionate about this thing that I'm being shown, that I'm being birthed into, that I'm being cultivated in, right? So we have to be passionate. All right, lucky number 7. The greatest example, and one thing that we hear over and over and over again, and I only have to shout out Pastor Weathers, because every conversation that we have, no matter what the situation is, she says it. And I know y'all can probably guess it. Anybody? Any takers about what a leader is? All right, leaders are servants, right? Jesus said it first, and that's our example. Jesus is a leader, right? He's the leader. He's our leader, and he was a servant first, right? The most powerful image of Jesus was him washing the disciples' feet. He was serving. He was a servant leader, right? And even though the disciples were like, no, like you shouldn't be washing my feet, Jesus said, no, this is what I'm going to do as a leader. I'm going to serve the people that I'm working with. I'm going to do for you as you do for me, as we do for others, right? And that's the whole aspect of a leader. See, a lot of people got it twisted. They think that the leader or the boss is just supposed to sit there and bark out orders and collect all the reward or the profit, right? Like you see this on commercials many times, commercials, TV, whatever the case may be. You have the workers out here slaving and the bosses in the back in the air conditioned room drinking a Coke, just chilling and just watching the cameras, whatever the case may be. But that's not how leadership works. Leaders lead from the front, not from the back, right? And even in the front, they're not just in the front leading the way, they're in the front working with the people, right? So we know that leaders are servants, and Jesus is our greatest example. right? He served the people. He was with the people. He dressed like the people. He wasn't high and mighty. He didn't boast, right? He said humble, humility, that's a big thing. He was very humble. So he is our greatest example of a leader because he embodies all these things that we've talked about, these 7 things, right? Leaders doing right when they're alone. Leaders enduring despite circumstances or situations, right? Leaders maintaining their resolve regardless of their consequences. They rise to the occasion. He rose to that occasion because I don't know if I would have done it, you know. But that's what makes him such a great person, right? That's what makes him our savior, the fact that he got on that cross for us. Leaders recover from failure, right? Leaders are passionate about what they believe in and what they're doing, and leaders are servants, right? So we're almost done, and I just have 7 was just my number today. So I have just 7 more little tidbits of what a leader is and some scripture to back it up. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. So I thought about this, and the reason why I chose this topic for today, I teach at a preparatory academy middle school, Allen J. Brett Leadership Academy Middle School, and it's a magnet school focused on developing young scholars, young students to be productive leaders in society. And our whole aspect, our whole goal is to make them into leaders. And so this week we talked about the word leadership, and I asked my students, and at the beginning of my class, I was like, so what is leadership to you? And they responded, and I said, who in your life do you consider a leader and why? And most of them named their parents because, you know, they help me with my homework and they feed me and they clothe me. But I was like, dig deeper, like what actually is it about them that makes them a leader? And I heard words like dependable. I heard words like fair, and I can trust them, and they believe in me, and I believe in them, and all these things, right? And so we think about these things, and even still, we have what's called a leader's creed, and I try to emphasize to them that this creed is something that you choose to live by while you're here at school. It's something that you choose to live by when you're at home, or when you're on your sports team, or when you're doing whatever it is you can do. And I'm my 2nd year here, so I'm technically a new teacher. But I'm gonna try to say it. I had to remember it. So it goes as a scholar at AJ Prep. I choose to be a leader. The standard is excellence today and tomorrow. I am disciplined, focused, and on time. I am organized, respectful, and responsible. I am on a mission to elevate myself, my community, and my humanity. And even in the beginning of that, I pointed out one key word is to them, and it said, sorry, I got ahead of myself. So what I told them to do was to end that creed that we're supposed to live by at the school. I said, what words stuck out to you? And of course, they all said leader, and some of them said discipline, and some of them said focus. And I said, well, what about the word choose? Right? The first part of that is that I choose to be a leader, right? You have to choose to be a leader. You have to choose, make a conscious decision to stand up in front and take whatever blows come your way and keep on going, right? And a big thing about leaders is that, and I tell my kids, is that we talked about correction, and nobody likes to be corrected, right? We all know that. And they get so upset, and they're kids, and I understand, but my big thing is that take your L and move on. And we can just go from there. We're not going to talk about it no more. Take your L and move on. And so when you choose to be a leader, you choose to get all these hits, all these blows coming your way, and you choose to take them and move on, right? So that was just my little story. I don't know. When I heard that was our lesson for the week, I was like, that's just something. I was like, yeah, anyway. So real quick, I have just 7 more things to talk about, and then we can go. 30 minutes in and out. God bless you. So what is a leader at the end of the day, right? A leader is open and honest, right? Open and honest. And if you look at Psalms 43:3, it says, send forth your light and your truth, and let them guide me. Let them bring me to your holy mountain and to the place where you dwell. So they're open and honest, right? They speak truth. They're not ones to be full of lies and deceit and to be kind of shady. It's all truth and it's all open. A great leader has nothing to hide because they put everything out there, right? Let's keep going. Number 2 of this, what is a leader? Leaders protect their team, right? Leaders protect their team. This is again in Psalms, it's 139, verse 10. Even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me, right? And this, I go back to our senior pastor. He's a great one that protects his people, from whatever the case may be, right? He's always looking ahead to see what's coming. He's always on top of the guidelines. He's always on top of what's going on, in our surroundings. He's always saying, no, we're not going to show up today. We're going to do it this way, or this is how we have to do this. He's always protecting us, even in the things that we can't see, because we know our pastor is down, always on his knees, always listening to God, always talking to God on our behalf. So leaders protect their people, right? And going with being open and honest, leaders don't tempt or don't tolerate wrongdoing, right? Right. So it says in Matthew 6:13, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Right. There's no tempting of you doing wrong when you have a great leader, when you have a good leader, or a leader in general. Because if you're tempting me to do things that's outside of the will of God or outside of what I know God's principles are, then you're not really a leader, right? You're a sheep in wolf's clothing, right? And also along with that, in Proverbs 16:12, it says it is an abomination to kings, right? And we're going to choose kings as our leaders. So it's an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, right? For the throne is established by righteousness. So we don't tempt wrongdoing or evil, and we don't tolerate it, right? As leaders, we have to be steadfast no matter what the temptation is, no matter what the offer is. Hey man, if you do this for me, you know what I'm saying? I got you with this. Nah, I'm good with me and my God, and we're gonna be straight. Because I know the reward on the end, right, is to be up in heaven with Jesus, right, on the new earth, right? And I'm not gonna risk that just for your temporary, your temporary goal, your temporary prize. So we talked about leaders being passionate, right? But leaders also have to be compassionate, right? This is number 4 in our new set of what is a leader, right? And this comes from Isaiah 49:10, right? And it says, they will neither hunger nor thirst, nor will the desert heat or the sun beat upon them. All right? He who has compassion on them will guide them and lead them beside the springs of water. You have to be compassionate. You have to have a heart for your people, and at the same time, the people have to have a heart for the leader. Like I said earlier, we as human beings, we have this thing of being able to bond with each other over the littlest things. So if you cannot have that bond with your people, if you can't have that bond with your leader, then there's no connection. There's no compassion. There's no heart there. Me as a teacher, I'm a firm believer in the best way for me to reach my kids in whatever content that I'm teaching is through relationship. If we don't have a good relationship, whether it be through me giving them a nickname, or me knowing what they do outside of school, or me just being genuinely interested in their lives, then they're not going to receive well from me, right? There has to be some kind of relationship, some kind of compassion, some kind of care towards them for them to trust me and see me as their leader and follow me accordingly, right? Just a few more. Leaders allow others to lead them. Leaders allow others to lead them. Like we said before, we know those people who just think that they're always on top and I'm in charge and nobody can help me because I already got it all, right? But in Proverbs 11:14, it says, for lack of guidance, a nation falls, but many advisors make victory sure, right? And we know, and this is the greatest example that I have is our pastor. We know that he has a council of advisors, people that he goes to. We all know that we have a new covering, right? Apostle McNair, right? Those are the people that he chooses to lead him so that he can in turn lead us. And we all know the saying, even when we're younger, the best leaders are great followers, right? So you can't just be out here leading blind, because then we're all just going to be lost. So leaders allow others to lead them, right? The right leaders. Number 6, this is very, very, very simple. One we all know. Leaders lead by example, right? Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willing, as God would have you. not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but be an example to the flock. Lead by example, right? Talk your talk, walk your walk, but let your talk match your walk, right? The things you say in private, let that be your life. Let the things you say in public be your life you live in private, right? You have to lead by example. You can't go up here and say tithe and don't sin and don't do this, and then you go home and you're doing those exact things, right? Because that's not the qualities of a good leader. And especially, we all know that things that are done in the dark are going to come to the light. So leaders lead by example. They have integrity, right? The things that we do when no one is watching. And lastly, leaders are skilled in the areas of their leadership. Leaders are skilled in the areas of their leadership, right? Psalms 78 and 72 says, and David shepherded them with the integrity of heart, and with skillful hands he led them. Right? What is the point of following somebody who doesn't know what they're doing? What's the point of calling someone your leader if they don't have the skills or the ability necessary to lead whatever it is that you're doing, right? Because in our activity earlier, you had no idea what I had you to do, right? But if I had told you something crazy off the wall, right, you would have the sense to say, okay, wait, this is not going to work because you don't have the skills, or I don't have the skills to do this job, so I'm going to, surrender my leadership unto you. Good leaders have the skills to lead in their designed area, right? I can't be a leader in the classroom unless I know what I'm doing, unless I know the subject that I'm teaching, right? The leaders can't be the leader. You can't be the leader of your things unless you have the ability and the skills and the background and the experience to lead in the areas that you've led, right? I can't lead the watchman because I don't have the experience nor the skills or the ability, given by God or given in training to do what watchmen do. That's not my goal. So I can't be the leader in that sense. And we have to know the areas that we are able to lead in, the skills that we have to be in those areas of leadership that we are in, right? So leaders are skilled in the areas of their leadership. So I hope that this served as just a quick reminder, a quick push, a quick encouragement for us to maintain and continue to build ourselves up as leaders, as we continue to progress through harvest, as we continue to build up this church, this family, as we continue to build the kingdom. So thank you for those of you that joined us online, and thank you for those that joined us in person. And we will see you here on Sunday, where our founder and chief pastor is going to come with another great word. God bless you and thank you.